Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how to know it's time to hire. Let me start by saying something that might sting a little, but I say it with love. If you've ever thought, I just need to hire someone and everything will calm down, this episode is for you. Because hiring does not fix chaos. Hiring can expose it. So today we're not talking about hiring out of desperation. We're talking about hiring with clarity. I'm going to walk you through how to evaluate your business to know when it's time to hire ground or production level help, when it's time to hire management, and when it's time to hire upper level executive support. And yes, I'm going to tell you where people usually get this backwards, so let's get into it. You're listening to Business from Scratch, the podcast for people building businesses they love without losing themselves along the way. I'm your host, Abby McGee. Let's get started. Let's talk about when it's time to hire ground level or production support. This is usually your first hire and also the one people mess up the most. Ground level or production level hires are the people who help you do the work, fulfillment, admin, operations, productions, logistics. Here's the clearest sign it's time to hire at this level. You are spending the majority of your time doing tasks that do not require your brain. If your days are filled with repetitive tasks, manual processes, inbox cleanup, scheduling, packing, prepping, follow-up, all of those things that we all love to do, and you keep telling yourself, well, I can do it faster myself, that's your cue. Because yes, you probably can do it faster, but you are not supposed to be doing it forever. If you are in a season where you are the business owner, the admin, the production team, the problem solver, and the cleanup crew, listen to me. You may even be wearing it like a badge of honor, but you are going to quickly realize that you are too busy doing everything to actually grow anything. Production hires are about capacity, not leadership. You're ready for this hire when work is consistently coming in, when tasks are repeatable, when revenue can support the role, and when you are becoming the bottleneck. But you need some things in place before you hire here. You need clear tasks, basic processes, and realistic expectations. If your business still lives entirely in your head, hiring at this level will feel painful. That's normal. It's also your sign to document the basics and move forward anyway. This is where you intentionally create SOPs for anything that you do repetitively. Creating these will help you really think through each of your processes, give you the time to think through what needs to be adjusted and clarified before you bring someone else into your chaos. Now, if you want a manager, here's what you need to be thinking about. A lot of business owners say they want a manager. What they usually mean is, I want someone to take this off my plate. I am tired of being tired, and I don't want to answer every freaking question anymore. And that's fair. But hiring a manager is not the same thing as hiring relief. If you want a manager, you need three things in place first: documented processes, defined authority, and trust. And if one of those is missing, it is going to get real messy. So let's talk about documenting your processes. Your brain is not a system. If all of your processes live in your head, you do not need a manager yet. You need documentation. Because here's what happens when you hire management without documenting your processes first. They're going to ask questions, and then you're going to answer them. They're going to try to make decisions, and then you'll override it. They try again, you clarify again, and now you're both frustrated. A manager cannot manage chaos that only exists inside of your brain. And if you want someone to lead, you have to give them something to lead. That means clear onboarding systems, defined client journey, SOPs for recurring tasks, standards for quality, what doing it well actually looks like. You don't need a 400-page operations manual, but you do need clarity, because without documented processes, you're not hiring a manager, you're hiring a very expensive assistant who still needs you for everything, and that defeats the point. Managers also require defined authority. If they have to ask you anyway, they're not managing. This is where most founders struggle. You say you want a manager, but what you actually want is someone who will run everything and still check with you first. That's not management, that's just babysitting with a title upgrade. Before you hire, you need to define what decisions can they make independently. What budget authority do they have? What hiring or firing input do they have? What problems are fully theirs to solve? If your manager has to slack you every time something slightly uncomfortable happens, you are still the manager and you just added to the payroll. Defined authority protects both of you. It allows them to lead. It prevents you from micromanaging and it creates clean lanes instead of constant overlap. And yes, this part will stretch you because leadership requires letting someone else make decisions you might have made differently. Not wrong, just differently. The other thing managers need is trust. This is the big one. If you do not trust other people to make decisions inside your business, do not hire a manager yet. I say that with love because here's what happens when you hire leadership without trust. You double check everything. You redo their work just to tweak it. You correct them in front of the team. You secretly believe you could do it better. And now they feel undermined. You feel resentful. The team feels confused and everyone is stressed. Trust does not mean blind faith. It means you hired intentionally. You were clear about expectations. You allow space for learning. You don't panic the first time they handle something differently than you would have. This episode is brought to you by the Starling Whiskey and Wine Bar, the neighborhood bar here in coastal North Carolina in the Cargo District. We built the Starling to be the kind of place where you're greeted by name, where conversations linger, and where exceptional cocktails, wine, and whiskey are shared around tables that feel like home. Whether you're meeting friends after work, celebrating something special, or just need a place to land at the end of the week, we love to welcome you in. You can find our hours, events, and private gathering details on Instagram at the Starling Bar or online at thestarlingbar.com. Mention the podcast next time you come in to receive 10% off any retail wine bottle to take home with you. We'll see you there. If you're not ready to let go of control, management will make you and everybody else miserable because a good manager will push back. They'll have ideas, they'll challenge inefficiencies, they'll want autonomy. And if what you really want is obedience, hire a task-based role, not leadership. There is no shame in not being ready, but there is chaos in pretending that you are. Here's a hard truth that you need to hear. Hiring a manager will not fix your burnout. Some founders think hiring a manager will solve their exhaustion, and sometimes it does, but sometimes it amplifies it. Because if the real issue is a lack of clarity, systems, trust, or let's just say it, control issues, then management is going to expose that. A manager is not a magic wand. They are a multiplier of whatever is going on up in your business. If your business has structure, they multiply stability. If your business has chaos, they're going to multiply friction. So, how do you know if you're ready or not? You're likely ready for a manager when you can clearly articulate how the business runs. You are willing to be left out of some decisions. You can tolerate someone doing things a little bit differently. You want to lead the vision and not the daily logistics. And you are prepared to coach instead of control. If hearing that makes your chest tighten, that's okay. That's just awareness. Build the foundation first. Document the processes, define the authority, and strengthen your trust muscle, and then hire management. Otherwise, you're not delegating leadership, you're just outsourcing stress and paying extra for it. Now, let's talk about when it's time to hire upper level executive support. Okay, deep breath, because this is the level most small businesses do not need as early as they think. Executive level hires include COOs, directors, high level strategists. These hires are not there to do tasks, they are there to shape direction. So here's the clearest sign it's time. Your business is profitable, stable, and growing, but you are capped by strategy, not capacity. This looks like multiple revenue streams, a functioning team, consistent cash flow, and decisions that affect the entire company. At this stage, you're not asking, how do we get through the week? You're asking, where is this business going? What do we need to scale? What do we need to cut? What's the long term vision? Executive level support works when your foundation is solid, your roles are clear, and you're ready to stop being the smartest person in every room. This is going to require maturity on your part. And sometimes the smartest move is a fractional executive, not a full time one. And it's probably a smart dip your toe in the water executive team strategy. A fractional executive is a senior level leader that you hire part time or contractually instead of full time. Think a fractional COO, a CFO, a CEO, and yes, that is a thing. Fractional just simply means they work a fraction of the time and cost a fraction of the full time salary, but operate at a true executive level. A fractional executive doesn't just complete tasks. They set strategy, they build systems, they oversee leadership, they own key metrics, make high level decisions, and drive growth or stabilization. They are not there to help out. They are there to lead a function of the business, just not 40 plus hours a week. So here's an example. Let's say your business is doing 1 to 5 million and you desperately need operational structure. You probably don't need or you can't justify a $180,000 a year COO yet. So you hire a fractional one for 10 to 20 hours per week or set a number of days per month or a certain number of hours in engagement. They come in and audit your operations, build SOPs, restructure team roles, install metrics dashboards, coach your managers, and get you out of daily chaos. Then eventually you can scale enough to hire a full time, or they stay on long term in a reduced strategic capacity. Fractional executives are ideal when you are past the scrappy startup phase, when your revenue supports strategic investment but not full time C suite salaries. You're stuck at a plateau, or you're overwhelmed as the founder, or you need real leadership and not another assistant. They're especially powerful when you've outgrown your current team structure, but aren't yet big enough for a traditional corporate executive model. Fractional is not the solution if you want someone to just take tasks off your plate, or you don't have decision making authority defined, or you're not ready to implement changes. Maybe you're struggling deeply with letting go of control, or you don't have the revenue to support strategic level compensation. Because a real executive will challenge you, they will change things, they will expect to be given authority and autonomy, and they will push performance. This is not a glorified consultant, this is compressed leadership. Let's talk ballpark cost. It can vary widely by industry and scope, but generally $3,000 to $15,000 per month, or $150 to $400 per hour, or project-based retainers. You're paying for experience and pattern recognition, not time. The real value of a fractional executive isn't extra hands, it's clarity. They see what you can't see. They see where you are the bottleneck, where money is leaking, where your structure is immature, and they help see what stage you're actually in. And they can help you operate like the size business you want to become, not the size you were 3 years ago. Here's the takeaway I want you to remember. Hiring is not a status symbol, it's a strategy. The goal is not to build a big team. The goal is to build a functional business. Every hire should answer one question: what problem does this role solve right now? If you hire ahead of clarity, you'll resent the role. If you hire from panic, you're going to regret it. If you hire with intention, everything changes for the better. Growth requires support at the right level at the right time. If this episode hit close to home, send it to another business owner who's stuck in the should I hire spiral. And remember, you don't need more people, you need the right ones. Thanks for joining me on Business from Scratch. Follow the show for more honest conversations about building a business that works for you.